I study prehistory, European, American, African, whatnot. And occasionally you'll come across something that's pretty interesting. For instance, in this book, Prehistoric Europe by Philip Van Doren Stern. It's printed in 1969. And on page 317 it says, and this is a scholarly book, a lot of books about prehistoric Europe, Africa, Asia, they just rehash old stuff, and they're not really good as far as the data goes. They're unreliable. But in the second paragraph here on page 317 it states, and if these questions ever are answered, it would simply mean that some other people preceded the Sumerians, and the time scale for the beginnings of civilization would move back another notch. And from what invaders could the Sumerians have possibly learned anything? So far as we know, no people were more advanced than they. No one but beings from outer space could have taught them anything they did not already know. No one but beings from outer space could have taught them anything they did not already know. And this is long before Zachariah Sitchin, the Erich von Däniken came on the scene. This is a pioneer in the field. He's done his research. He documents so much good stuff. And this is a legitimate book. And that kind of jumped out at me, and I like that. Let me read it again. No one but beings from outer space could have taught them anything they did not already know.
Who wrote that?
Philip Van Doren Stern.
What year?
1969. And so, studying in ancient history, we can see that there are different persons that have seen different things. They've recorded different things. There are several ancient historians that document things that they don't understand, phenomena, portents. And when we stumbled across this ancient tomb in southern Illinois, one of the problems that we had with the establishment scholars concerning the Latin, the Greek, the Punic, the Egyptian glyph, Demotic, Medium, Hieratic, whatever, was that there were several of the tablets that had indications of some type of alien being there. Which we're going to see a couple here, and you'll see more about it as we go on. And so, going back in ancient history and starting to document them, out of all these UFO books here that I've got, I don't really know. I wasn't there. I didn't see them. You know, they seem pretty straight up to me. Some of them are really good accounts by decent, honest people. But the best UFO book, by far, in my opinion, was written 2,000 years ago in Latin. This is called Pliny the Elder. He was writing in the 1st century A.D., the middle of the 1st century. Book 2 of his documents several what we call portents. And to rephrase what he says in Latin, and you can kind of read between the lines of what he's stating, and there are several really interesting things that he claims. From book 2, I'm going to backtrack some. Verse number 50, that'll be 58. We are told that during the wars with the Cimbri, a noise of clanging armor and the sounding of a trumpet were heard from the sky, and that the same thing has happened frequently both before then and later. In the third councilship of Marius, the inhabitants of Ameria and Tudor saw the spectacle of heavenly armies advancing from east and the west to meet in battle, those from the west being routed. It has often been seen, and is not at all surprising, that the sky itself catches fire when the clouds have been set on fire by an exceptionally large flame.
Strange sounds caught in the skies. About an hour ago, went outside to film the sky, or to record the sky, because this really strange red looking cloud just came out of nowhere. filled up the sky. When I mean red, I mean red.
It has often been seen, and is not at all surprising, that the sky itself catches fire when the clouds have been set on fire by an exceptionally large flame.
And that was the initial point of this video. And then some very strange sounds come from the sky.
We are told that during the wars with the Cimbri, a noise of clanging armor and the sounding of a trumpet were heard from the sky, and that the same thing has happened frequently both before then and later.
Strange sounds come from the sky. Loudest I've ever heard it before. So yeah, everybody, check out these red clouds that showed up. Just out of nowhere. And I live way out here in the boondocks, 15 minutes to the nearest gas station. I hope the phone's picking it up. You see it right there, the red looking stuff? What the hell? What's that noise? Listen, y'all. Holy shit, that is loud. Holy shit.
A noise of clanging armor and the sounding of a trumpet were heard from the sky.
Holy crap, what is that noise? Listen, y'all. Listen, listen. What in the world? Listen. Oh man, it got quiet. Now listen, 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 listen. Listen, shh, 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 listen. What in the hell? Listen, y'all. What? Sound like King Kong got kicked in the nuts. You stupid, dude. Oh man, listen, y'all. What in the world is that noise? What in the world? Listen. Now it got quiet again. Listen how quiet it got. Well, I come out here to do these red skies. I'm going in.
It has often been seen, and is not at all surprising, that the sky itself catches fire when the clouds have been set on fire by an exceptionally large flame. So that could be translated from Latin. That could mean he's perhaps attempting to describe something that, as a spark from a ship or from one of these heavenly armies, that the whole sky, the entire sky, just lights up in the flame. And that's in the early part of the 1st century BC.
For the best experience, use headphones.
Hello, ladies and germs. I know many of you, or most of you, have been worried about the vaccine's side effects or full effects, and also the little worms you see on the face masks, especially those white and light blue face masks, the little worms. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it, YouTube it, or whatever. You'll see all the little worms moving in those masks that you're breathing in and taking in. But don't take my word for it. Let's hear a guy that doesn't believe any of this. He says that it's all about, friction, static electricity. That's why you see those fibers moving. That's what he says. That is theory. It's his theory. It's all about friction, static electricity.
Many of you have reached out to us that there is a video on the internet that shows worms found inside a face mask. I watched this video, and after a few seconds it was clear to me that the thing shown in the video was obviously not alive. It's probably fake and the panic is unnecessary, but this statement might not be enough for some of you, and we will have to show you exactly how they got it moving. First we took a clean face mask and had a good look at it. We don't see anything special. If we look at the video, we can tell the size of the worms by comparing them to these squares. We see the squares with the naked eye, so the worms should be also clearly visible. I tried to look at the face mask under the microscope, but I didn't find anything. Certainly some thread is playing the role of worms in this video. Maybe it's taken out of clothes or something. I do believe it to be synthetic. And the best source of synthetic fiber can be found in plushies. We had to cut each of them a bit to get several types of fiber. So, here we have them under the microscope. But they're not moving, contrary to what we see in the video. We try to do it in many different ways. We increase the humidity of the room. And we try to heat it with the help of a special lamp, which melted our microscope a little. And during our experiments I remembered static electricity. Experiments with it that they taught us at school. Just take a plastic pen or a marker and rub it on some woolen material. And with electrified plastic reaching the fiber, some of the threads began to move realistically. Not every pen worked properly. We tried a few of them before we could attract this thread. That's most likely how the video you sent us was made.
So about friction, static electricity. So my question is, how come all the other billions of fibers on the same piece of fabric don't move? Only 2 or 3, or 4 or 5? Because there's millions of fibers there. It looks like they're dead, they're not moving. If it's about friction and static electricity, shouldn't have a few more thousand of these fibers moving? But no, only a few. 3, 4, 5, sometimes 10, even more. But not thousands or millions. They're dead, they don't exist. Just fabric, not alive, but some move. So that debunks this guy's theory. This is about friction, static electricity. Otherwise we'll have a lot more fibers moving, but we don't. We only have 2 or 3. Let's keep going. See all the little worms moving in those masks that you're breathing in and taking in. That I will address one of these days. But before that, But before that, have you been worried about your ass? You haven't? And by ass, I mean your butt. Especially the toilet paper you're using. Because the same kind of things you're now breathing in and taking in on your face masks, you have been taking it up your butt. Sorry for being crude, but that's how it is. Through the toilet paper you use. You didn't know that? I mentioned this a while ago, but now I want to remind you. Let me show you. This is way more complicated than you think. Way more complicated than you think. And it's not about only face masks or toilet paper. Everything around you're being infected. But we'll get to that. For right now, you're still alive. Most of you in good health. But we'll get to that, okay? I'll mention it on part 2 of this video. Cheers, stay safe.
Всем привет, добро пожаловать в мой новый влог. Сегодня на очереди у нас туалетная бумага, и дальше вас ждет еще кое-что интересное, поэтому досматриваем этот влог до конца. Итак, ребят, чтобы больше не было претензий по поводу того, что я работаю не в перчатках, что, мол, это вся, может быть, пыль, грязь идет с рук. Так вот, теперь я в перчатках. Ну что ж, давайте откроем туалетную бумагу. Ну, собственно, и начнем. Которые нас не интересуют. Ну, то есть вот также есть волокна, которые никак, то есть себя не проявляют, не шевелятся, не реагируют на тепло. Чтобы вы понимали, да, что вот так себя ведут обычные волокна, нитки и так далее. Так, ну вот, как бы волокно тоже абсолютно бездвижное. То есть вот, чтобы вы понимали. И больше не писали, что это нитки и так далее. Да, вот это нитки. То есть они не реагируют ни на тепло, ни на какие другие раздражители. Ну, то есть вот понятно, да, надеюсь, теперь. Так, ну вот, ребят, туалетная бумага. Вот такого оранжевого цвета волокно. Видно, да? Движение. Я хочу, чтобы вы обратили внимание, да, вот на переднюю часть, опять же, волокна. То есть, который активно перемещается, да, видно вот. Попробуем еще настроить, чтобы было еще лучше видно. Ну вот, как бы, да, видно. Это туалетная бумага, ребят. Так, вот у нас еще одна находка. Так, вот я нацепила на кончик пинцета мясо. Сейчас мы его подсадим к нашему товарищу. Видите, как начинает реагировать? Смотрите. Оп. Заметно вам? Как сразу же пробудился. Оп. Так. Очень аккуратно нужно. Интересно. Удаляется. Посмотрите. Не понравилось, да? Попробую пододвинуть еще мясо.
We are told that during the wars with the Cimbri, a noise of clanging armor and the sounding of a trumpet were heard from the sky, and that the same thing has happened frequently both before then and later. It has often been seen, and is not at all surprising, that the sky itself catches fire when the clouds have been set on fire by an exceptionally large flame. So that could be, translated from Latin, that could mean he's perhaps attempting to describe something that as a spark from a ship or from one of these heavenly armies, that the whole sky, the entire sky, just lights up in the flame. And that's in the the early part of the 1st century BC. In 31, verse 31, again, several suns were seen at once, neither above nor below the real sun, but at an angle with it, never alongside nor opposite to the earth, and not at night, but at either sunrise or sunset. It is also reported that once several suns were seen at midday in the Bosphorus, and that these lasted from dawn till sunset. In former times, 3 suns have often been seen at once. So that sounds a little peculiar, doesn't it? I mean, what's he trying to say to us? This is 2,000 years old. In 32, we read, also 3 moons have appeared at once, for instance, in the consulship of Gnaeus Domitius and Gaius Phineus. That's 222 BC. In 33, a light from the sky by night, the phenomena usually called night suns, was seen in the consulship of Gaius Caecilius and Gaius Papirius, and often on other occasions causing apparent daylight in the night. And that was recorded in 113 BC. 34, in the consulship of Lucius Valerius and Gaius Marius, a burning shield scattering sparks ran across the sky at sunset from west to east. And that's in 86 BC. All right? A burning shield scattering sparks ran across the sky. Could we say that's perhaps like in a swift-like motion? A swift-like motion? That's something interesting to remember as we get a little further into this. In 35, we read, in the consulship of Gnaeus Octavius and Gaius Scribonius, a spark was seen to fall from a star and increase in size as it approached the earth. And after becoming as large as the moon, it diffused a sort of cloudy daylight, and then returning to the sky, changed into a torch. That's recorded in 66 BC. None of these UFO books give the descriptions of Pliny. But we also have descriptions from Livy. There are descriptions from Dionysius of Halicarnassus. And there are other ancient authors that record things of this nature. But this is a very good one. I like the one about the dropping, because we hear people in these books describing them, but nobody refers back, hey, Pliny 2,000 years ago recorded something like that. Maybe there's a connection. Maybe there's a connection. Picking up with some more Pliny. In verse 36, also stars appear to shoot to and fro. This invariably portends the rise of a fierce hurricane in the same quarter. So he's talking about that at this time when they do their darting back and forth, that evidently there is some terrific wind associated with it. In 37, we read, stars also come into existence at sea and on land. And on a voyage, stars alight on the yards and other parts of the ship with a sound resembling a voice. And this sound resembling a voice could mean a hum, just something made with the vocal cords. Hopping from perch to perch in the manner of birds. These, when they come singly, are disastrously heavy and wreck ships, and if they fall into the hole, burn them up. So he's talking about a light that comes across, shines down on the ship, and burns it up. Sounds pretty wild, doesn't it? And now we're going back a little bit in 23. It says, a terrible comet was seen by the people of Ethiopia and Egypt, to which Typhon the king of that period gave his name. It had a fiery appearance and was twisted like a coil, and it was very grim to behold. It was not really a star so much as what might be called a ball of fire. All right? Now, we're going to talk about a character that played a role in Pliny's life. His name was King Yuba. King Yuba, when he was young, his father was killed by Julius Caesar because King Yuba I had aligned himself with the Pompeian forces. And as Julius Caesar's forces defeated, overran Mauritania, he killed King Yuba I, and the little King Yuba II was taken back to Rome, where he wrote an entire digest of history. He traveled all over the Mediterranean. He traveled throughout the Atlantic. And all through the 10 volumes of Pliny, if anyone cares to read them, they are quite interesting. King Yuba II is just hailed by Pliny. He loves the guy. He talks about him all the time as King Yuba. He goes, there's absolutely no one that knows more about the Atlantic Ocean than King Yuba II. No one that knows more about Arabia than Yuba II. No one that knows the Mediterranean and how to get around better than King Yuba II. And so he refers, Pliny states in his work that he is copying or retelling stories that King Yuba had written down. but King Yuba's works are lost. And Yuba, bear in mind, we never did have the J. Can you guys see this? We never had the J until like the 1600s. It was like this. Yuba, which in the old Numidian would have been like this. Or the B would have had a dot in it, or the B could have been a long square. But Yuba, this symbol for the B, would mean that it had an A sound following it, a consonantal A. And Yuba plays a big role in all of this that has happened in Illinois. He, his brother-in-law, and his wife are very, very important players in what happened. Now, going back again in verse 22, in Pliny, the tub star presents the shape of a cask with a smoky light all around it. The horned star has the shape of a horn, like the one that appeared when Greece fought the decisive battle of Salamis. The torch star resembles glowing torches. The horse star looks like horses' manes, in very rapid motion, revolving in a circle. Also, there occurs a shining comet whose silvery tresses glow so brightly that it is scarcely possible to look at it, and which displays within it a shape in the likeness of a man's countenance. All right? Could you please turn the lights out? Let's look at some artifacts from Illinois for a second. This is one of the tablets from Illinois. And a lot of times on the tablets, what you'll see is you'll see the shape of the rock actually used in the formation of whatever the subject material is. You'll see the shape of the rock actually used in the formation of whatever the subject material is. And this particular stone, she took several shots of it, and from all the angles it clearly shows that it's some kind of vessel, some kind of ship with a guy's head in it. And he doesn't look like a regular human being, simply because the artifacts that depict humans clearly depict humanoids. And the radiance across the top of the head is often used to depict some type of glow, some type of radiance or film of some sort. And it's often depicted on several of these tablets. I have seen many more tablets than I'm going to be able to show you as far as slides go. But anyway, I need the light on to show you something. Is that there are aliens that we consider. How many of you have heard of reptilians before? Bunch of you. Well, here in this UFO book, which I got from my dad, it says here, reptilian with scales and claws, perceived as evil. And I've been studying dinosaurs. And when some weirdo like me studies dinosaurs, no telling what you're liable to come up with. And I'm going to show you some things that are pretty much undeniable, but this is the Illustrated Encyclopedia of Dinosaurs. All right? It was printed in 1985. And on page 55 here, up at the top, now this is a legitimate dinosaur book. And they are starting to show people very subtly reptilians of this type. You can go, okay, and this is only one. And it talks about the dinosauroid. And it comes up that these dinosaurs that roamed 100 million, 150 million years ago, that certain dinosaur hunters, whatever, actually found some type of bones that they could configure into some type of form like this. All right, but that's not all. There's a book here called Hunting Dinosaurs. And these books are available at museums and whatnot. They're considered to be legitimate books. And Well, thank you. And here, we have a guy sitting at his desk, and look at what's talking to him here. So all these little subtleties that they're imposing on us, somebody's getting us ready for something, wouldn't you say? But oh, here we have a children's dinosaur book. This is printed in 1996. It's got some of the same stuff as the other one there. It's got some articles by the same guy. But you want to check him out for a little bit. Don't he look good? And that is not a question about that, is there? And it goes on the other page to say that they found some type of bones that perhaps look like this. But here we go with, this is a kid's dinosaur book. It's the same guy, except he's a lot bigger. A little bit better image of him. See? So, however it is that they're doing what it is that they're doing, we're getting the message pretty clear. We have reptilians. Ladies and gentlemen, I have no reason whatsoever to pull your legs or to feed you a line. But in March of 1997, March the 15th to be exact, we had an auction in Peoria, Illinois. And this particular stone was not there. We can see him on the, let's look at the other, this is him on the other side. But there were available there for anybody who, I think he went for 35 bucks. And if I'd had the extra money, I'd have bought him a life-size bust head of a reptilian, about this tall. And there were several others that are small. I have seen, coming out of this tomb, about 5 of them. Now, I've got this stone with me. And I'll show you this one. Yes. Don't you want to feel what the energy's off of this rock here? I told you, some of them scare people. But this is a, what appears to be a reptilian, and I call it tuxedo, for lack of a better word for it. And the stone itself is carved in bas-relief. That means that the image itself is lifted out from the stone. The image itself is not carved. It's the stone around it that is carved. And we have several stones like that from this tomb that are all cut in this bas-relief fashion. But this is clearly, the scholars, they didn't know what this was. They said, oh, it's an alligator man. Surprise! It's clearly a reptilian. And even to the hands, the way the feet are shaped. And he's in garb. He dresses up. He's in good-looking clothes there, isn't he? Well, some of them have dates on them. But when the rock's got somebody's name on it and a date, I would believe that. Here's another one. This isn't a seal, and this is a really good-looking stone. I mean, the other side of it, I don't have a photo of the other side, but it's just precise. And maybe you guys can help me out. Anybody seen an alien like this guy before? All right, now we're going to get into some decipherments. This particular tablet, can you see where this is going yet? Can you see where this is going yet? This particular tablet was featured it's owned by Dr. Beverly Mosley, who we call him the Weasel. He's a museum designer here in North America. He's got a list of museums behind his coattails that is a mile long. Cahokia is one of his flagships. And this is the Midwestern Epigraphic Journal, and this is one is published by Dr. John White III. He's a retired nuclear physicist. He's one of the top in the country. And these stones have attracted people for over a decade. And the only people that know anything about it are heavy-duty antique collectors and museum designers who have put forth the effort and the money to stay in touch with all this. And here we have an article written by Dr. Houston McCullough, who also was is a professor at the University of Ohio. And
Pilate was reassured by the centurion that Jesus was dead. But this was the same centurion who had earlier said,
"Truly, this man was the Son of God."
Jesus' body was then laid in a tomb donated by a rich man, Joseph of Arimathea. This Joseph and a man called Nicodemus came to minister to the body.
They came to Jesus by night and brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 100 pounds.
Что